Daniel Gutierrez, KHU here in town.
Nice to see
Just
you.
what are your, I mean, how exciting is this to come here to campus and see what this university has to offer Big 12?
Been fantastic. You know, as many of you know, I've been on a listening and learning tour. This is number 11. Next week I'll be at UCF, but it's fantastic to be here. Honored to be here, in fact. The facilities are world class. The people are fantastic. Everyone seems to be galvanized around the notion of joining the Big 12 in July, and we're equally as excited to welcome Houston into our family. It's a big opportunity for us, and we take it very seriously.
Brett Murphy from Fox, what is this visit all about?
Really, for me, it's about listening and learning, meeting the key stakeholders, understanding from a conference perspective, you know, what we can be doing more of, where we can be better, how we can support Houston in all the right ways. So really, it's a lot about listening and better understanding the needs that the school has from a conference perspective, and also obviously just touring, you know, the facilities and getting on campus. My first time here, and haven't been in Houston for a long time, and glad that I'm able to come back and really witness and view what's being built here.
Greg Bailey from ABC TV here in Houston. You've been very aggressive publicly about your stance with the Big 12 with regards to expansion. Do you feel like at this point you need to expand not only teams but your geographic footprint to move up on par or close with leagues like the Big 10 and the SEC?
You know, for us and for me, it's about being the best version of ourselves. So that's what I'm really focused on. How can we best position the Big 12 for the future and do all the right things? And as I said on Media Day, for me, my job is to vet out all possibilities and opportunities, to make sure that wherever we go, it's additive, not dilutive. Do I have a goal of nationalizing this conference? Absolutely. Does that mean that we should look at expanding our geographic footprint in order to do that? Why not? But we need to make sure, one, that timing is right, two, again, whatever we do is additive, is not dilutive, and my job is to explore, you know, every and all options, and that's what I'm doing, and we'll continue to do. But do we need to expand? No. You know, on the go forward, we will have 12 great member institutions that give us a great footprint geographically, great brands. You see the depth of this conference already right now, 2 weeks into the football season. So we're really excited about the future. And I often tell people, I don't think there's been a better time to be part of the Big 12 than right now. We are aligned as a conference, all the member institutions, and that's been reaffirmed in my visits. So I'm really bullish on where we're going. So anything we do truly needs to be additive and can't compromise what we're building right now.
Brett, as you, Joseph Duarte with the Houston Chronicle, as you get to know Houston, just want to get your thoughts just on where football is headed with some of the facilities and projects, and then of course with the basketball program being a national title contender this year, just the addition of them into the Big 12.
It's tremendous. I mean, you saw what you know transpired this weekend between Houston and Texas Tech. You can look forward to, I think, a great rivalry there. That was epic in many respects. You think about, you know, what coaches doing on the basketball side. I mean, it's perennial national champions every year. Hopefully, being a member of the Big 12 just helps to amplify both those efforts, where you can go in and now be a part of the Big 12 in Power 5. I think the investments that are being made on campus are incredible, just toward both the football facility and here, the basketball facility. So in every respect, the investments are being made. You know, there's process in place. Chris and his team are fantastic. So again, we can't be more excited, you know, to welcome the Houston family into the Big 12 family.
Brett Brian Smith, Houston Chronicle. There's been a lot of back and forth between the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Where do things stand? And I mean, I know it seems like it changes regularly. I don't know if anything's ongoing currently, but I mean, are you still open? Would you still like to add an Oregon, you know, any of those schools?
Well, I've never discussed schools in particular. Yeah. I've never done that. What I've said, really dating back to Media Day, is that we're open for business. And open for business doesn't mean just expansion. It means as a conference, we're no longer going to be stagnant. We're going to build our brand. We're going to build our business. And as part of doing both, expansion has to be part of the conversation. Again, we don't need to expand, but we need to explore it. You know, that's my responsibility in reporting to the board, to make sure that I vet out every and all possibilities. So again, we don't need to expand, but given our aspirations to be national, to grow our geographic footprint, to build our business, it's certainly something we need to explore.
This
Brett,
is
Chris Baldwin, Paper City, Houston. Dana was talking about, sort of being excited by some of the new ideas you're sort of bringing, more from the marketing side as much. What are some of those that you're
Well,
trying
we're
to
gonna
change?
make some announcements here in the next couple of months on some of the new initiatives we're gonna do. But first and foremost for me, it's about how do we contemporize the brand? How do we story tell in ways we've never done, not just at the conference level, but also, at the member institution level? How do we get on the consciousness of future student athletes where they're voting yes for brand, Big 12, conference Big 12? Those are all things that are critically important. How do we use music as a part of our storytelling? And how do we celebritize maybe some of our championship games? We are going to do a lot of different things. And all of it will be about contemporizing what we do at the conference level. And I'm very excited. And we're working on a lot of those things right now.
Brett, Chris Gardner, Houston Round Bar Review. Does a linear network for the conference make sense in your mind?
You mean a specific network,
Not-
Big 12 network?
Yes, sir.
Or are you talking about our multimedia deals moving forward?
Specifically linear going forward, not just a digital Big 12 on ESPN Plus.
Well, linear, from my perspective, is critically important. We, if you think about building our brand, building our footprint, storytelling, being on linear TV is critically important. But we also need a digital component because you reach consumers very differently today. So in combination, you have a powerful distribution platform. And as we think about the future, that's how we'll be thinking about it.
Brett, how do you view the Texas OU situation and resolution leaving whenever they leave, that kind of thing?
Well, as I said on Media Day, and it's kind of no different now, listen, I don't have any emotion about the Texas and Oklahoma situation. Obviously, that predates me. I've got to do what's in the best interest of our member institutions and this conference. So whatever decisions we make moving forward will be based on just that. And we'll see what happens.
Brett, Andy Allen, Scouter Sports. You mentioned in regards to looking at expansion and being open that you really want to do stuff that's going to benefit the conference in the long term. You mentioned that you're only going to add teams that are going to add to the product. Is there a certain criteria that you have that when you look at potential schools that could be expanded to the Big 12, is there something you're looking for specifically?
No, nothing specifically. I've mentioned it in the past, but ultimately, whatever we end up doing, if we do anything, you want to make sure it's the right fit for all the right reasons. We are so aligned as a conference right now, and we don't want to compromise that. So it's got to be the right fit, ultimately.
And what would you define the right fit for?
There's lots of different nuances that go into that.
Two more
Really.
questions.
Yeah.
Brian Smith, Houston Chronicle. Dana was just mentioning, because Kansas plays here, and the stadium for the football stadium peaks at 40,000 or so. That's less than many of the other Big 12 schools. Were there any hesitations, or how do you view that? They've been building and building here. They've been improving, but it still can be a challenge to fill the stadium. What's your perspective on that?
Well, first of all, I think again the facilities here are world class. And when they were built and renovated, there was always the vision of, how can you scale up and adjust to whatever the demand is. So if there's a need to adjust accordingly, I'm sure Chris and his team will do that if they're not already planning to do so already. As far as we're concerned, attendance I don't think is an issue. If you look at all Big 12 teams and we're playing to 90% plus capacity, there's great rivalries, great brands that will be coming and calling this venue home, so no concerns there at all.
Dana says you'll be back here Saturday watching 14.
The plan is to see 2 games this weekend, double duty, so that is the plan and looking forward to it.
Last question.
Why is that important to come back?
Well, my plan right now is to no longer, in addition to doing the campus visits that I've been doing, is to experience the events on site, to engage with fans, and to really be part of game day. So excited to be doing that across the conference.
The SEC and Big Ten almost seem to be trying to set it up like a perception of a new Big Two. I mean, how do you fight that as a perception and, you know.
We don't, you know what, it's all about being the best version of ourselves, really, that's what I'm focused on. And never been more upside in our conference than now, very bullish on our future for all the right reasons. Great brands, you know, great leadership across the board. It's a good time to be part of the Big 12.
Brett, your
Last question.
ability to, when you look at some of the things you wanna do to maybe lean on your entertainment background, is that something that you wanna tap into when you can? And I ask because you were part of a group with the power couple there. I don't know if Beyonce gave you any scouting report about Houston, since she's a hometown.
You know, I haven't gotten any scouting reports, but do I want to lean on entertainment? 100%. Is music going to be part of the DNA of this conference going forward? Absolutely. When I visit different campuses and meet with student athletes across the board, one of the top 5 things student athletes and students in general are thinking about is music. So that's got to be part of our storytelling. We've got to infuse that in everything we do, and you'll see that in the short term.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.